Hello and welcome back to Oversky Deck Pilot. This week we're taking a look at my Emerald Rakoan build following a recent balance patch that has changed the game quite a lot. If you haven't seen the patch notes, be sure to check them out on Faeria.com, but you can also check out my balance patch video, which was covered in Card Spotlight this week. This list relies on small creatures that overwhelm the board very quickly, and then you can use stuff like the Emerald Salamander and the Ancient Boar to either remove creatures to power up or provide some tempo. We're really enjoying this build. It's quite experimental, so be sure to change it up if you feel like it could be improved. I'm going to take it for a spin on the ladder and see how it performs. Alright guys, let's get into this match. This is Cod Lackey. We have an Axe Grinder, fantastic start. We could take the Elderwood and keep the Elderwood Embrace with this if we wanted. I'd rather find another creature, to be honest. I'd rather find like a Ground Shaker or something like that. And we have the Bone Collector as our start. I much prefer playing Bone Collector first, because it means I place my forests closer to my orb, rather than having to place them around here. I'd rather get mountains in these spots. And this means I can go explore Mountain Axe Grinder, then use the Bone Collector to block, you know, to make sure these Flame Bursts and stuff don't get too much value. Oh, we have a little Reveller as well. Very nice. So now we could even just go Reveller if we want to save the Axe Grinder for an aggressive position. I could double neutral next turn, just shimmy everyone up. That is an option. Could just Mountain Flame Burst. That's also an option. We'll have to see. There's no play from our opponent. I think I just Flame Burst. Bloodstone Sprite. That's not a card we see very often. Very interesting. So killing this actually means nothing now because it's going to double collect anyway, so double neutral is just fine. And then we can go Mountain Axe Grinder. And when we play this Mountain for the Axe Grinder, we can then use the Flame Burst for the Water Elemental. Ouch. I've tried using Bloodstone Sprite in the past as a kind of as a way to just kind of like an expensive Mace Man in a way, so get something out of it when it goes into double collection. It's actually really difficult for me to deal with. Hopefully I can win this race. Two Bloodstone Sprites in double collection. That's not something you see every day. That is for sure. Mystic Beast. So this looks like a special land deck that curves around the side and applies pressure that way. Alright. So we take the 5, play the Axe Grinder, move back and collect. Maybe... No, we can't really Deepwood Stalker. We could have Elderwood there, I guess, to push more damage. We're actually only 3 off lethal now. It's going to be a Colossus. So this is some form... Yeah, this is some form of damage-based tempo deck. This is very unique. I haven't seen anything like this. It's a very cool Cod Lackey if you're watching. I like it. It looks awesome. Our draws are just not that great. The Axe Grinder doesn't even survive off the Elderwood, which means this is going to... So I have the... I guess I use the Spider if I'm going to use anything. Oh wow, okay. That's really helpful. Which means I can kill this. See, I have to make a choice now. And I think the choice is pretty simple. Yeah, I feel like we have to kill this regardless. Because this is going to cause a lot of problems in the future. Just hit for another 5. Very difficult position to be in. So interesting how Faeria's landscape has changed so much with the new patch. That's going to be an axe grinder. Yeah, okay. Those the early damage from the Bloodstone sprites. I don't know if it made much of a difference really with the axe grinder play, but very interesting to see it. Aurora to refresh it to try and find the lethal next turn. The Deepwood Stalker doesn't really help us in this situation. And I have to build land to put a blocker here. This is going to deal 1 damage to me from the Bloodstone Sprite. That's going to happen. I can't really stop it. So what I need to do... These need to all shimmy across. So I'm kind of banking on this can't be killed. This is what I'm hoping for. Oh, there's not just 1 damage somewhere. We might be lucky, we might not be. This is just kind of just a race situation. 2 decks are trying to kill each other as fast as possible. I'm hoping this can't clear the axe grinder and I win off the axe grinder. That's basically my out here. A draw. This might be a win, guys. No, it's a Frogify. Alright, so I can still find lethal. It is possible. Now this is very smart because now I die to the double collection. That's a Boar. Let's take the draw. There's a Ground Shaker. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. So very close. One damage away from lethal. One life each. Well played, Cod Lackey. And yeah, that's a cool deck. I like the concept of this. It's very interesting to see what players are coming up with following this new balance patch. So an unfortunate loss there. Very, very close. Let's get into the next game. Alright, into our next game. Hopefully it'll go a little bit better. It's against King Dan's. I haven't seen King Dan's in ages. And he's running the little mantas. Very interesting. So I'm going to go for the Bone Collector over the Axe Grinders because I want to play these on the well spot. So next turn I'm going to take double neutral and then I'm going to take special land into mountain. Now, if you ever see a card appear in your opponent's hand like that, you'll know it is one of these mantas. Fly to the mantas. Alright, so double neutral. I guess we're not going to get the axe grinder spot. A little unfortunate there. So I think I'm just going to take a forest, and I'm going to collect, and then I guess next turn we take mountain, and then we can go into axe grinder. Yeah, that's fine. So we can just do this now. Could even Elderwood the axe grinder to make sure it doesn't die to the water elemental. So the water elemental does want to double collect now. It has to run it into my axe grinder. Yeah, little manta. Moving to the side. This is going to allow me to push double neutrals now. Or I can just take another special land and play, say, a Ground Shaker. I might actually go to the other side here because this manta could be a problem. But then again, I could push really aggressive up here if I wanted to. It's tough, because if I pick up a spider, I'm fine, because I can just spider this, or a flame burst this. So yeah, let's take the aggressive line. Let's take the double neutrals in, and we'll move everything up. And the plan is to either move this onto the lake here, and take a mountain here, or potentially just collect this turn. Could even double neutral across here. And this opens up a lot of salamander spots. Salamander are kind of very similar to Bomb Slinger in that respect. If you get a forest or a mountain in a good position where they'll summon creatures, you could get some good value. But I have no idea what Dan's is playing. Takes the lake. Aurora on this. So wanting this to either push damage or be able to survive a flame burst, which is completely understandable. Get the aggro mountain. Move this up. We can play the ground shaker here, so if this does come across, we're only one step away from clearing the manta. Then we can play another axe grinder. Now this can jump over and gain value on my bone collector if he develops land, but that does force a development of land. It also means that my ground shaker will kill the water elemental on my next play, so I don't really mind if this bone collector gets taken out. It gets Dan to build land instead of drawing cards. If this is zip over the push 6, I can go neutral, neutral, push in and deal damage. I also have a salamander in hand waiting, so potentially just use a salamander instead of using the ground shaker and empowering my creatures as a result of it. So a lot of different ways this can go about. It's going to use a wind soldier instead. It's going to move up and take care of the axe grinder by the looks of it. Jump across, soul drain. Decides to retreat. Where it's now in range of challenging anything I play in these spots. Now, I don't mind forest here, actually, because it means that we can play the salamander on this spot. And I'm going to move the axe grinder up. I want to push this much damage next turn, so I want to force the manta to come to me and try and answer these creatures. And this is setting up some potential salamander positioning in the future. Salamander can, at the moment, hit this spot and this spot, but one more land, say here, he covers everything in this range, which is really good. We'll see how Dan answers this. He might just collect, and that gives us more damage to work with. Into another manta. Very interesting. So, cannot clear the axe grinder. That's what that told me. I can now move the ground shaker up. Elderwood Embrace. Clear this. Move up. Hit for 6. And then maybe take an aggressive land here. Or I could take a draw. Draw is fine too. Horsemaster. Not going to have much influence. Let's move the ground shaker up and play the boar as a collector. I don't want to miss out on collection because I have 2 creatures right at the orb. So this is the best way for me to double collect as well. Imperial Guard's gonna hold the line. Failed experiments. Dreamkeeper. This is a spicy deck from King Dan's. Maybe you should have considered playing an Imperial Guard just to get some time. I guess it's not really anywhere. I guess you could play it here. This is quite a safe place for the Imperial Guard. Roar's Disciple. Okay. Shift in Tide. Draw. Picks up another Manta. Oh, and another Hold the Line. And there we have it. So I had an opportunity to clear pretty much any Imperial Guard that was used as a taunt because I had Horsemaster in hand. And while this Axe Grinder was here, I could use the double neutral to move my lands down here, and then I could Horsemaster my Grind Shaker across. So a win on the board, 1-1 currently. Let's keep going. Alright, against Spooky 1-8. And we have our turn 1 Harvester, very nice. And then we can just throw these 2, see what else we get. Ground Shaker. I like it. Let's take the mountain into the Rakoan Reveller. This collects 1 Faeria now. No matter if this gets removed, we're going to get a full refund for this creature. So if it collects more than 1, it's in a really good position. Take the forest, take the collection, and we'll pass. So we can go mountain into Ground Shaker, and then we have access to the Ancient Boar as a follow-up. Explore into mountain into Shed and Brute. So Gift of Steel, very dangerous in this situation, but we do have Elderwood Embrace as a follow-up on the Rakoan if we need it. We also have Emerald Salamander next turn. Might be able to get value out of that card. It's going to be a lake. Gift of Steel. And yeah, we're going to be able to clear this with our Reveller. Or we could just alternatively use a Flame Burst here. Could even actually just use a Salamander. I think Salamander's absolutely fine. Oh, and we can go Tempo Boar. There we go. That's a lot of pressure for 1 turn. Removed our opponent's threat, summoned a Boar, and then we have the Elderwood Embrace follow-up. El Capitan. So this is some combat. Yeah, it's like a red-blue combat deck. Go double neutral around. Let's lock these lands in. Yeah, let's just pass. Because this will double collect for us now. We have a lot of Faeria. We also have a lot of resources in hand to kill the Capitan. I can go Ground Shaker Elderwood next turn on the Boar. That will be enough. Oh, we're going to pre-Gift of Steel this. No surprise. Do I have enough? 4, 5, 6, 7. Nah, I don't have enough. Actually, no, I do have enough Faeria. I have exactly the amount of Faeria I need. So this picks me up to 6 attack, Flame Burst, 9 damage, and then the Ground Shaker is going to finish it off. Very good. Is going to get a Gift of Steel from this, but we have complete control of the board. Going into Wells has been very successful this game for us. I've often played very aggressive, but perhaps I've been playing this wrong. Or maybe I've been playing this deck wrong all along. It is possible. Alright, let's completely landlock this in. And we can go for a Bone Collector. So if any of these get removed now, Bone Collector is going to get empowered. Oh, see, Flame Burst and my Bone Collector, that's a 1 Faeria advantage for us. You'll notice I'm building a lot of lands here, but I'm just making life as difficult as possible. And now I've picked up the Axe Grinder. Mountain here next to an Axe Grinder is going to be very strong. Trying to limit as many places for our opponent to play cards as possible. And into Cypher's Wrath. Absolutely fine. This is all very reactive play, and it's actually doesn't do a lot in this situation. Because Spooky's not developing onto board while removing stuff at the same time. Triton Chef. We can kill this with the Salamander. And then we can shimmy a Boar out as well if we want. Yeah, we'll do that. Take the Elderwood. We're going to Boar onto this mountain. And now we have Lethal. But that's not going to stop the Lethal, unfortunately, and there we have it. So going up the same side was really beneficial there for us. And in the last few games, I've gone down the opposite side and it hasn't worked out at all. So I feel like I've learned something about my own deck. Let's try and go down the same side again and see how it does. All right, into our next match. Going up against a rank 5 player. I'm going to keep this hand. Yeah, we're going to keep this. And we're going to go down the same side as our opponent. That's the plan here. There's no point trying to race them. We have a lot of removal. Let's use that to our advantage. I guess Bone... See, I've been playing this all wrong in our first game. We need to go down the same side because we want to get value out of the Bone Collector. So now our opponent could go down the opposite side. So I think we actually don't play a collector this turn. I'm going to take the middle, because my opponent took the middle, and we'll see where our opponent goes next. Mountain into Reveller, okay. So now we have the Explore into Forest, into the Deepwood Stalker. And then we can kill the Reveller before it gets going. We want to kill Revelers early. You don't want them to gain the attack because it becomes very annoying giving your opponent additional Faeria. It's going to be a Flame Burst. Okay. Into a 5-cost Boar. I think we have to play the Axe Grinder here, even if it dies to the Boar, because the Salamander is going to be able to kill it as well. But say the Boar decides to kill the Bone Collector, I could actually position a really strong Salamander next turn. So I'm giving my opponent a choice here. Flame Burst is pretty sad, but we've seen a Flame Burst, so I'm hoping there's not another one. Ah, there's another Flame Burst, for real? That's really sad. Yep, that's really, really sad. Had the other Flame Burst. And then we didn't even draw anything worth playing. It's not even worth playing the Salamander in that position. It could die to the Boar very easily. Like Elderwood Embrace would be enough to clear him. We get like no value out of it. So we go in between the wells. No aggressive mountain coming down. Gonna stop our aggressive mountains, which is fair. And Cypher gonna come down. Yeah, this is a big problem. I really feel like a ground shaker is needed here. Thing is, if the Salamander dies to the Cypher, it gets 5 life. So I'm gonna play a no value Boar on this position. And let's give it an Elderwood as well. So let's make sure this Boar is gonna stay alive. Now, if Crystal Flower comes down, it's gonna be game over, but I'm hoping there is no Crystal Flower. And this Boar can do some work. Collect some Faeria. Some Boar on Boar action. A 6-9 is a great stat line for an Elderwood Embrace on the Boar. But it's also important to note that our opponent could have Elderwood Embrace as well. Double Flame Burst, okay. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So we can just answer this clean now. Let's do that. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to give Cypher any opportunities to grow. So double Flame Burst is just a nice clean answer to it. It's going to double collect anyway, which is kind of sad, but I'm fine with that. As long as we get that Cypher off the board. Hopefully we get a good draw next turn. Another Flame Burst would be absolutely fine here. Oh, the third Flame Burst into the Spider. This deck's looking very familiar. Rakoan Reveller. Yeah, we're going to play this little Reveller down here. Hopefully get the collect next turn. Maybe this could even double collect. Hopefully there's not another Spider. It's going to be my Horsemaster. So now we can't even collect +1 Salamander, which is really sad. Can Boar in between the wells, but we're getting no value out of these Boars. We haven't been able to stick to the board. I guess we haven't got Boar control right now. Yeah, and that's going to be well played. So I think this was a great way of showing the strengths of my build. And going into the wells, very, very powerful. It was very hard for me to keep my... It was a double Flame Burst. I lost off the double Flame Burst. Now, I went for a kind of a risky play, but I don't even feel like it was much of a risk, to be honest. What else did I have? If my Bone Collector didn't get cleared, what was I going to do with it anyway? So, I feel that the double Flame Burst was unfortunate, because it enabled my opponent to snowball from there. If the second Flame Burst hadn't come down, I would have had, like, Emerald Salamander follow-up, which is what I was gearing towards. So very unfortunate there. But it's nice to see my deck being played by other players, especially at the top end of ladder. Alright guys, our last match of the day, going against Tuka A. Let's see how we do. I'm actually going to keep a Flame Burst. Get an Axe Grinder as well, very nice. And our opponent's going first. So I think I would like to make some adjustments to land development that I discussed in the deck doctor. I feel that you should go from the middle if your opponent goes from the middle, and you can go from the sides if you can match your opponent's same side. So in this situation here, I mean, I could match my opponent, I suppose. I could go explore forest and then collect, but our opponent could go down the same different side. I think actually, yeah, so what I'm gonna say is try and go down the same side as your opponent, but if you can't, if they do change sides, don't be afraid to change sides later on. So for example, I'll set up a Bone Collector here now. I'll take mountain here and collect. If our opponent goes down this side, I'll then start building lands to the right-hand side and just leave this as a collector on the left-hand side. So yeah, that's why I feel that what could be done with land adjustment with this build. It's going to be a water elemental. So this is some form of ramp build. Our opponent's so deep into our lands already, it's really sad. Forest, Earthcraft, Lake, Water Elemental. So this can go Lake into Mystic Beast now, which would be very, very troublesome. But we do have the Flame Burst, so we can just Flame Burst this now. Oh my goodness. Really? Land ramp for days? Alright, so Flame Burst is not as good as it once was, because now this Water Elemental can clear my Axe Grinder, so I'm going to have to play my Axe Grinder here. It's not really what I want to do, but yeah, we'll take care of that. So this does jump down to collect, we can clear with the Axe Grinder, but it probably goes into the wells instead. This is so difficult to deal with. It's going to be a Willow. All right, this gives us some options now. I think I'm one. No, I'm not going to be one Faeria off. I'm going to be able to Salamander Elderwood. Oh no, I'm not. Well, I can still Salamander Elderwood. That is still a possibility. It's just if I want to. I think the answer is yes. I think we have to. I think we have to do something. We're in a bit of trouble here. Getting good value from this. We are like 1 damage off from killing this, but they're both on 1 life, so if I was to... I mean, the 2/5 can clear this now. My Axe Grinder can clear this. There's a lot of ways to answer these creatures. And Skywhale is active. Another Willow into a Feed the Forest. Now, Feed the Forest did get nerfed. It did down to 5 forests, but when your opponent draws all this land ramp, it's still going to be very powerful. And I didn't think green-blue ramp would get rid of Feed the Forest from its build, to be honest. It didn't seem likely. We can Spider the Water Elemental next turn. We can take care of the Willow. Unless there's another power-up. Ah, Skywhale. Ah, Skywhale by turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delightful. Now we're just in a miserable position. Although, I guess one thing to our advantage is our opponent isn't collecting Faeria. The most our opponent's going to do is hit Orb this turn. It might run away with our Axe Grinder, which does mean I still get the double collect. And the draw was taken, so there's no additional Skywhales coming down at least. This is it. It's the only Skywhale. A Willow would be really sad. We've already seen 2. Actually, any taunt creature on my Salamander could be... Oh, that's even worse. Frog Tosser was actually one of my lifelines sustaining this match. Sorry, my Bone Collector was one of the lifelines staying in this match. The Frog Tosser is really bad here. I'm going for board control as well. Okay. Take a draw, I guess. Double Horsemaster, not what I want to see in this position. We are going to kill the frog. We can't let this double collect. No way. We have to try and you know, try and live through collection here. Another frog toss is probably game at this point. Any kind of way to remove my Forfeiry. It's gonna Earthcraft. That's not too bad. Because the Skywhale goes face here, I get my Axe Grinder back, which is excellent. As soon as I get this Axe Grinder back, I'm in a really good spot. Now, the Frog Tosser might move out the way, and the Skywhale might zip up to make sure I don't get this Axe Grinder back. But then I have Horsemaster. Could be very useful. Takes a draw. It's not a lot that green-blue ramp can do on 2 Faeria. And yep, this is great. So I'm going to slot a Horsemaster in double collection here. And hello, Axe Grinder. I hope you stick with us. There's a strong chance you don't. There's a strong chance you just get eaten by another whale, which would be most unfortunate. Willow feeds at times. +1. 10 Faeria. It's going to be a Wood Elemental. Into another Skywhale. Oh dear. Cypher Blood Tyrant. Not the best. Rakoan Reveller. Really that good as well. I think we just play Cypher here and we pass. So we have the Horsemaster, so I guess we do have a way to zip it down, to do something. Our problem is just a lack of Faeria. And I'm banking on like an Elderwood Embrace at this point. A Ground Shaker I won't be able to play. Deepwood Stalker would be fine. This is just another whale, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, so that's going to be it for this episode. And Skywhales, still very, very powerful, as you can see. Especially if you get land ramp like that, it's going to be very difficult to defeat it. But that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. That wraps up this episode of Oversky Deck Pilot. I feel this deck still needs some work. The land development is definitely something I adjusted when I was playing, so I'm still trying to figure out stuff for this deck myself. I feel like it could be very strong. It has potential. We'll have to see how the metagame lines up. It might not function very well in a very specific metagame. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, drop a subscribe to keep up to date of when our content goes live. You can check out Deck Doctor for the green, red, emerald Rakoan. You can also check out Card Spotlight if you'd like to know more about the balance patch. So until next time, guys, take care and enjoy Emerald Rakoan.